So what is API testing? So API testing is a kind of software testing. So that determines if the developed APIs meet expectations regarding functionality, reliability, performance, and security of the application or not. You are going to check as part of API testing. So through API testing, you can do performance testing. You can do functional testing. You can do security testing also. So functional testing means whether it is working or not, you will check. That is a functionality. Anywhere, remember, functional testing means whether it is working or not. That's a functional testing. And non-functional testing means like a performance testing. So how quickly it is responding, how much time it is taking to get the data from the server. So that's a performance. Performance doesn't bother about functionality. That's why we are calling that performance testing is also a non-functional testing. So security testing, okay. So in the market, a lot of hackers are there. If you don't test this security of your API network, it is going. They will catch on the network. They will go and attack on the network, and they will take the data. So is the data encrypted properly and securely transporting from one system to other system or not? So we need to check that security. Okay, so that's all the different type of testings you can perform using APIs. So what are the advantages? See, where the API testing will be done mostly on the business layer. This is the middle layer, right? Middle layer. And this is the presentation layer, means the user interface that you can see. This one back end, you cannot see this. But the action will happen all in this area and on the database. So API testing provide access to the application without a user interface. That means even if you don't have a GUI, that means the visible portion of the application, and you can check the functionality of the application working properly or not. The core and core level of functionalities of the application will be tested and evaluated early before the GUI test cases. So because another thing is it's a very faster, less time consuming than functional GUI testing. So API test automation requires less code, so it can provide a better and faster test coverage compared to GUI test automation. So in API testing, data is exchanged using XML or JSON, and then these transfer modes are completely language independent, so allowing user to select any code languages so when adapting automation. So API testing and unit testing, what is the difference? Again, sir, API testing is something testers will be done. It is performed by QA team. Unit testing is performed by development team. API testing is a black box testing. Unit testing is a white box testing. So API testing assess the full functionality of the system, whether it is working or not, without even GUI interface. So unit testing is just checks one function we have written, one method you have written, that method is working properly or not, they will check. That's a unit testing. Function by function they will check, because the developers will write a lot of functions, right? That functions are working or not, they will check. And API testing run after the build is ready. So unit testing will be run before the build is delivered to the QA team, right? So that's the difference between API testing and unit testing. So what are the different features of web services? So web services going to have interoperability because it interact with the different components. Reuse already developed functionality into a new software. Loosely coupled and extensibility. So these are the features of web services. So we have two different types of web services. One is the RESTful web services and SOAP web services. So what is the key difference between REST and SOAP web services? So REST means a representational state transfer and SOAP means simple object access protocol. So that's a abbreviation for the REST and SOAP. So the key differences is the data format, how we will send the data. So in the REST, you will send the data using JSON format, that is JavaScript object notation, JSON, J for JavaScript, so object notation. So that's the one way. Other way is using extensible markup language. XML also you can use in the REST, any one. So JSON is generally the preferred format for the RESTful web services because it's a more readable and lightweight structure. That's why JSON is the another most used data transfer layer for the RESTful web services. For SOAP, XML is the main protocol. So the data will be transferred through XML files, which is heavier data structure. So so you have to write a lot of XML tags. So you should have a better idea on the XML. So XML language, that is extensible markup language. XML means. So you should have a fair idea on the XML if you want to work with the SOAP. And protocol and standards. First one is the data format. REST uses the XML and JSON. And SOAP uses only XML. What is the protocol and standards? REST works on the HTTP protocol. Standards for usually determined at the application level, and REST has a stateless structure. SOAP uses its XML protocols and also HTTP, SMTP, TCP protocols. So that's a SOAP, what protocol it uses. The communication model is REST has a client server based communication model. Each request is a stateless. So, and this allows for easier scaling between applications. SOAP, it is often used in the business to business integrations and supports different communication models such as client server, publish, subscribe, or peer-to-peer. That's a SOAP. So areas of uses, so REST is widely used in the web applications and the single page applications and the lightweight and simple design mobile applications. This RESTful web services are used widely. So basically RESTful web services are URLs, basically that represent the resources and interact with that resources using HTTP methods. So you have a URL, that URL you will use there are 4 HTTP methods are there: get, post, put, delete. So these are the different type of HTTP verb methods. SOAP is widely used in the large business to business applications like more financial systems. This SOAP is used widely. Healthcare and telecommunication systems, this SOAP is used. It is a complex transactions. If you want to perform, that will be done with this SOAP. And you are going to use XML, and this is basically going to have a lot of components in the SOAP. SOAP WSDL means Web Service Description Language. That's a WSDL. So means. So main difference between SOAP and REST is SOAP uses a XML based message protocol. REST uses a architectural style protocol. SOAP uses a WSDL to communicate between the consumer and provider, and XML, so REST uses XML or JSON to send and receive data. SOAP calls RPC method to invoke services. REST calls services via URL path. So SOAP transfers over HTTP and other protocols such as SMTP and FTP protocols, and REST transfers over HTTP only. SOAP, JavaScript can call SOAP, however it is difficult to implement it. REST can call from JavaScript, and SOAP performance is minimal as compared to REST. So performance is better than SOAP. REST is less CPU, it uses, because REST is a lightweight architecture. So what is SOAP? SOAP is having three components. You can see here: simple access object protocol, web services description language, universal description, discovery, and integration. So these are the logic will be written in the WSDL file. So WSDL file is an XML file, so which contains which port the endpoint will work, and what is the input message, what is the output message, and what protocol you need to use. So these are all things will be defined in this WSDL file. WSDL file is nothing but an XML file. So they will define all of them in this WSDL file, how this SOAP has to work. So what is the structure? So the UD is another, so universal description, discovery, and integration. It's a kind of a directory service, like a phone book directory, right? Like that. All the endpoints will come and store here, register here first, and then it will be send the request to the server, and you will get a response back. So, but this is not important for us, SOAP, because SOAP is so like you can do a SOAP testing using SOAP UI automation tool, UFT, JMeter. So these are the tools you can use to perform the SOAP testing. So manually it is not possible. You can do with these tools. So that's all about. So in the RESTful web services, this is the one we are going to talk. Mainly you need to focus on RESTful web services. RESTful web services means it's a representational state transfer. It provides a communication between the client and server using HTTP request methods. What are the HTTP request methods? Get, post, put, delete. These are the four methods. So it transfers the information from the client in the request parameters, and the server will process that and send back to the client. So either in the JSON format or whatever the format you want. So you will send in the JSON format. You will receive also in the JSON format if you want. So that's the request goes, and response also you will get. And so what is this get, post, put, delete methods? So let me give you what is get method means. So the get method, this is the any HTTP endpoint structure. So First, it's a REST is a client server architecture, stateless, cache, layered system, on-demand code. And HTTP request is going to have the method, HTTP verb method, either get, post, put, delete. Then the URL will be there like this. So that is the main concept of any HTTP request structure. HTTP request structure is this one, you can see. So it is going to have the HTTP verb method, the base URL / endpoint URL, and then headers you can give any. If it is a post method, you have to give a input data, and then you will get the output data. So any request, so a request also has the method name, get method or post method or put or delete, then endpoint URL. So endpoint URL means your server URL and resource URL. Where the resource, what is the resource name? So where is that resource? The resource path, that's the endpoint URL, we call that. And then headers. Okay, you are sending a request in the JSON format or some other format. Then we have another concept. If it is a get method, delete method, you don't need to send any body, request body. That means request input you don't need to send. If it is a post and put method, you need to send the request body. So that's the request body we need to send for only post and put method. Post method is used to create that resource in the server. Put method, the existing resource you can update. Put for update, post for create. Get is retrieving the data from the server. Delete, it deletes the resource from the server. This is all the get, post, put and delete. So this is a very, very important interview questions on this area. So please make sure you are clearly understand that get, post, put, delete methods. So any questions? So you need to understand some of the important points. Always in the RESTful web services, we will talk on the resource, protocol, host, port, and request body, request parameters, and authentication, authorization. So that we'll discuss in the next class or tomorrow's class. Okay. Any questions before stopping here?